Hi, welcome back. Thank you for joining me for making my felt quiet book for children of the Rosary. I've had this pattern available for over a year now, but I wanted to make a version that would be easy for anyone to make, no matter where you lived or what craft supplies you had on hand. So I'm going to go through step by step how to put together the first book today. This is the Joyful Mystery book, of course. And the way I'm going to show you is using a really cheap acrylic felt that can be found at any craft store, including Walmart. The first version I did was almost exclusively hand-stitched, which took a long time. But if that's not for you, I'm going to show you a version that doesn't do any stitching, doesn't even require a sewing machine. And so that's what I'm going to be doing today. So literally anyone can do this, even if you aren't crafty at all. But I just think these are so powerful. They've made a huge impact on the prayer lives of our family and my children. And I can't make them for everybody because it takes a lot of time. So I'm coming up with a version that literally anyone can do. So, Joyful Mysteries first. The first video I showed you how to cut out the felt pieces in a way that's going to help you get a really exact cut for even detailed pieces. So we're starting as if you've cut out everything already. This is a version of all the pages. They aren't finished and put in together in a book yet, but this will show you what it's going to look like. So we're going to start with the first page, which is of course the cover. So these are the pieces that I've cut already. And this is all you need. Along with these supplies, you just need some ribbon, any color. A thin ribbon is perfect, and just 3 beads and some puff paint. So to get started, the first thing I'm going to glue down is my cross, because I'm going to make, as you can see, it has the first part of the rosary on here so that children can follow along with the beads as you pray that first part of the rosary. So, hot glue gun. This is what we're going to use over and over again in this book. You're probably going to burn your fingers, and you're probably going to watch me burn my fingers. But it's the best way to get things done quickly. Okay, so I put glue on my cross, and I'm going to put the string underneath it so that that's glued down, and that's going to be what I'm going to put my beads onto. So I do that, stretch it across. That's about how far I'm going to need it. And then, next thing I'm going to do is glue down a felt circle, because this is the first Our Father bead, of course. Glue that down. I'm going to take some pony beads, just really cheap ones. This is actually, even in the first version of the book I made that was hand stitched, I used pony beads because they're easy to come by and cheap. Put on 3 of them for the Hail Marys. Then I'm going to do my next Our Father bead, just right there. Glue onto the felt and stick it right onto the ribbon to hold it down. Of course, the fun part of hot glue gun is that you have all these strings you got to pick off later, but that's okay. And the next thing is I'm going to put in my centerpiece right there, but I'm going to need another a short piece of ribbon to kind of come out the back of that to kind of symbolize, you know, the circle that the rosary would have. So again, I'm going to put glue onto my centerpiece, put this down, glue both pieces underneath it. Okay, so I have my rosary made. I'm going to trim those ribbons in a second. But for now, I'm going to move on to the title part. And I'm going to glue this down. Once again, I'm going to stick it over my ribbon so they're held in place. Okay, glue that down. Okay, I'm going to trim my little ribbons here. And now, the only thing I have to do is I'm going to take my puff paint, just a regular black puff paint, works great. Yours will probably work better because yours doesn't have the top trimmed off like mine does, because I forgot to put the cap on. Let's see. And then all you have to do is just write in the Joyful Mysteries. And then I put the symbol for Our Lady, just an M with a cross on top here. So I assume you guys can figure out how to do that. So I'm going to move on to the next page, which is the first Joyful Mystery, of course, which is the Annunciation. So this is just a really simple angel. It says Hail Mary over here in puff paint, And as you can see, so the quiet elements are that the wings actually flap and that there's puff paint they can feel. And as with all of the pages in the quiet book for the Rosary, all 10 Hail Marys are down here so that they can begin to kind of follow along and move the beads as the family says the prayers. So let's put that one together. Here are the pieces you need to have cut. It's a little word bubble, the hair, the face, halo, body. These are the 2 Our Father beads, the wings, the gown, and 2 little oval shape for hands. And again, this is all really just cheap felt that you can buy at Walmart. It comes in a color pack. All these colors are included. Okay, so as always, we're going to kind of start from the bottom and work up. Now, as you're laying out your pages for the Rosary book, you need to keep 2 things in mind spatially. First of all, you're going to have the beads and the Our Father little circles down here at the bottom, so you don't want to go too low. And also, you're going to put 2 holes on this side to bind the book together, so you don't want to go too far to this side. So always try to think of leaving a little bit of space here and a little bit of a chunk down here. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind. Okay, so I want my wings to flap, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put glue just right down that stripe there of my wings. Glue those down. Okay. Next up, I'm going to do the gown. And I'm just going to glue this gown. I'm going to glue the bottom down too. But just make sure it goes onto the wings, because if I go over, then the wings won't flap anymore. And I need another glue stick. Up. There's no real science to this. You just got to do what looks right. We're making a children's book, so we're not going to be too hard on ourselves. Okay, and then I'm going to glue, oops, hold it, glue the halo down first. It's right up here. And then next up, what I like to do, I like to actually glue the hair onto the face first. Sometimes I kind of put it in a weird spot. So just glue the hair onto the face and then glue that down all together. Okay. Only thing I have left to do is glue my hands on. I'm just going to tuck those underneath the sleeves. And once again, making sure that I don't glue the edges of the wings down. Just one hand. And here's the other hand. Just tuck it right there. Okay. Now I just have to glue down my word bubble, and on our word bubble, we're going to write Hail Mary. Do that right there. Okay. And now this is something that you're going to do for every single page of the quiet book, but I'm only going to show you on this one, just so that you don't have to watch hours of me crafting. I'm going to cut a string the width of the page. This is what I'm going to string my beads on. So first step, I'm going to take one of these circles that I cut. And these are not exact circles. You can, of course, cut yours more exact. I just cut a whole bunch. For all the Joyful Mysteries, I cut my Our Father beads out of a blue felt. And I did kind of the same color as the cover for each of the mysteries. So like green for luminous. Okay, so I glue that down. Now I'm going to grab 10 pony beads. I'm just going to string them on there. Oops, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and I don't want to put them on there too tight because I want, of course, them to be able to be slid back and forth as the family says the prayer. And I just take my other one, my other Our Father bead, stretch out the ribbon, and glue it down. There we go. Okay, now as a final step for this one, as you can see, and of course there's no exact science for this, I just put puff paint around as a kind of thing. My kids like to feel how smooth it is. So I just used some real cheap puff paints that I picked up and obviously have used a lot before. And I just put some things, and of course the face. So since I don't want to make a big mess, I'm going to do that later. And that page is basically done. The next page is, of course, for the Visitation, which is the second joyful mystery. The quiet element here is that I use these ribbons that would be like around the sashes of Elizabeth and Mary, and the kids can play with these, you know, practice tying a bow or whatever. And of course it has the rosary at the bottom. So I glued some of these parts together already. It's pretty simple. So anyways, for this you need to cut 2 body pieces, probably blue for Our Lady and whatever other color you want for Elizabeth. 2 little fetus pieces and a halo for Jesus. You attach the Our Father beads and the Hail Mary at the bottom just like you did before. The only part I'm going to show you is putting the sashes on. It's really simple. You just cut a length of ribbon, no specific length. Fold it in half. Okay, it's going to go right here. I'm going to use my hot glue gun once again. Just put a stripe of glue down right across the middle. Try not to burn your fingers, and you put it down in there. Fold, and then you open up the fold and put glue in here again. So it kind of looks like it's coming out the front. Glue down. Okay, and then you do that again for Mary. And that's it. It's a pretty straightforward page. All right, on to the next one. This one's a little bit more involved. This is the Nativity, the birth of our Lord, and it's my kids' favorite page for sure. This one is a little bit easier. If you do want to hand stitch one page, I would say hand stitching on this one would probably be the best, but I'm going to show you how to put it together without any hand stitching. So the quiet element, of course, is that our little very simple doll of baby Jesus comes out to play, and he tucks right into his manger like that. So here are the pieces that I cut out for this page. And I have some of them glued down just to speed this up. So it's a brown little manger bottom. There's 2 hay pieces. I cut one out of orange felt and one out of kind of a golden felt. And as you see, it's kind of a, I don't know, rhombus. I don't know what shape that is. And I just kind of put little slits all around the outside to make it look a little bit more like hay. And I did that for both of these pieces. So you glue the bigger one down, glue the smaller one down on top of it, just in the center so that the edges can flap. Glue that down. Okay. And then we're going to make Jesus' little bed. This is a little bit complicated, but not really. You just kind of fold in the sides like that because I want it to be kind of a pocket. So I'm just going to put a stripe of glue down here. I'm going to fold it and put it down in there. I'm just going to do kind of a little bit at a time. Put a little bit of glue down here in this fold. Do another fold and put a little bit of glue. Okay. So I got kind of a little bit of a fold. Hot glue dries quickly, but you do have to kind of hold it for a second. Okay, and do another little fold over here. Just put some glue down. Might get a little bit messy, but we'll forgive ourselves. So once I have the bottom down, kind of folded like that, then just do the sides so that it's a kind of a pocket. Whoops, mine's coming out. Might take a couple of tries. There we go. Just kind of a little pocket for Jesus to slide in and out of. This is easily my kid's favorite page. For a while they used to sleep with the little baby Jesus. Okay, now for the hard part. Okay, we're gonna make this little guy. It's not gonna turn out perfect because we're not gonna stitch him, but he's gonna be okay. All right, so for that you need 2 little body pieces like this and a halo. And you also need a little bit of polyfill. It's very easy to find this, just fluff. You can find it at a craft store. You have to buy kind of a big lot of it, so Maybe you have another project, maybe you have an old pillow you can salvage it from, whatever. Okay, so first off, we're gonna glue down the halo to what will be the back of our baby Jesus. So we're just gonna put some glue right there. That's good enough. Okay, glue that down. Okay, now we have to glue these two together kind of as a sandwich, but we wanna leave the bottom open so that I can stuff it full, okay? We're gonna glue that bottom part shut. So I'm just gonna glue one side first, put glue along this side. Put that in there. I'm gonna glue along this side. And I'm gonna leave the bottom open. Okay? Leave it dry. Like I said, hot glue does dry quickly, but it doesn't dry immediately. So you gotta kind of push it, let it dry. Pull the strings off, which is what you gotta do all the time with this project. Kind of get your finger in there, okay? Now you need to do just tiny little pieces of polyfill at a time because this is not a very big thing to fill. Just shove it in from the bottom. I think I'm gonna have to use my scissors to get it up into the head. Yeah, I just need a little bit in there. Just do a little bit at a time. If you do a lot, you're gonna rip the sides open and have to start again. It's not the worst thing in the world, but just better to do a little at a time.
Hey Mom, we're supposed to the water to be cool and hot, so it'll be fine.
Gus. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put some glue around the bottom and close it up. And try not to burn my fingers. The trick is not to put too much polyfill in here, otherwise it's just gonna pop open and the glue won't hold it, so put just enough to give it some depth. Okay, you see I got a squishy little baby Jesus. Now the last thing that you need to do is just once again take your puff paint, put eyes and a mouth on there. You can use red for the mouth if you like. And it tucks right in to its little blanket. There you go. So that is the Nativity.